Hi everyone, I'm Hanna. Welcome to my allotment. I'm based outside Oxford, UK, and I love to grow brassicas. However, I also have a lot of animals and insects around me that love my brassicas too. So the route that I go down is the prevention one, and that includes covering with mesh, and it includes building brassica cages. So I protect my brassicas from sowing them to seedling stage by keeping them in the greenhouse, and then after planting out I cover them with a mesh, and when they get taller I build them a cage that is then also covered in mesh or netting. So the pests I have to deal with are pigeons, muntjacs who like to come onto the plot and munch, mainly in winter. Both of these are mainly in winter. Muntjacs are a miniature deer, you can Google it if you want. And then later on I have the cabbage white butterfly who lays their eggs on brassica leaves, and these eggs then hatch into caterpillars who can munch through all your brassicas in no time whatsoever. And if it's really bad, they can decimate your crop. And especially on an allotment where you might not be visiting every day, the cabbage white butterfly caterpillars can really feast, and maybe if you only go down there once a week, you aren't there often enough to pick them off in order to control them. The other two little ones I have trouble with are the mealybug grey aphid that is attracted to brassicas, and then whitefly. The whitefly may be less troublesome, but the aphid for sure decimated a lot, my whole kale crop. So when I plant out my brassica seedlings, the first protection they get is mesh. And this mesh I lay straight onto the plants, and it does not need to be very large. It needs to be the width of your beds plus a little bit more, and then the length of it. And then you just weigh it down with stones, and the plants are strong enough to push up the mesh as they grow. However, at one point that mesh will become too small and you will need to create something better. So the best way I found, and the cheapest, was to build my own cage by using this blue water piping. You can buy it through a builder's merchant, or you can buy it through Amazon quite easily by the meter length, and it comes in a spoolie. And then you can just cut it with a regular saw. Just be careful, because when you saw it, it leaves all these little blue plastic particles, so make sure you catch them. Don't just put it on your lawn or wherever you're doing it. I have also inherited a lot of cast iron hoops on my plot, but they would be prohibitive to buy, so I treasure them, but I'm not gonna get any more. They're also too small. So with the blue piping, you want to cut them so that they comfortably sit across the width of your bed, and you also want them to have the height needed for whatever brassica you're growing. So if you're growing cauliflowers, romanesco, or tall sprouts, things like that, they need the height to comfortably grow underneath them. And then with that comes that you need a mesh or a netting that is the right size, and that is usually where you run into trouble buying EnviroMesh or VeggieMesh online, in my opinion. They're usually too narrow, and if you buy the wider ones, they're prohibitively expensive usually. I'll insert links to my Amazon affiliate shop down below to some mesh I have bought, which is wide enough to use when the plants are young. And I'll also insert a link that's not affiliated to another company that has mesh that is wider and still very affordable. So the mesh is the catch-all of the protective coverings. It won't let through aphids, and it won't let through the whitefly if you have it secured enough. However, if those two pests are not a problem for you, I can recommend using scaffold netting. So if your main pest is the cabbage white butterfly, then I would recommend that you buy the much cheaper scaffold netting, which is a debris netting that builders use on top of scaffolding, just to stop I guess debris just falling down onto people. And you can buy it really, really cheaply in really wide, really long, whatever size you want, and you can just cut it to the size you need and it won't unravel, right? And that is perfect for keeping the butterfly out, but aphids and whitefly will still get in. It will also obviously keep the deer off, and it will keep any pigeons off. So in this bed here, I've got my purple sprouting broccoli. They're just about ready to start producing their shoots. And they have grown under the netting all winter to protect them from the pigeons and the deer. And they're looking pretty good. So another little trick I have for my mesh, sometimes in winter I cover my more tender crops like spinach or other winter lettuces just to keep the wind off, and next to them I have some overwintering calabrese. So even though the calabrese would be fine with a mesh sitting straight on top, I didn't think the spinach would be too happy about it, so I used old greenhouse shelving that is not in use at the moment through the winter, and it is perfect for keeping up the mesh and very, very sturdy, and it gets them out of your way until you need them again in spring. So that's it. I hope that was helpful for you. Don't forget to check out the affiliate links down below. Even if you don't want to buy those specific things, I'm sure Amazon will suggest other things that might be better suited for you. If you're new to my channel, thank you for watching and consider subscribing. It all really helps. If you want to know more about what I do on a regular basis on the plots, I'm running a vlog project this year where I'm uploading every Friday just what I've been up to that week. I hope to see you again soon.